everyone, and welcome. You are watching Eagle News America. I'm Anna Cui, coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. It is October 18, 2020. Tonight, we have updates from several of our correspondents across North America, starting with Thomas Likeness in Edmonton, Alberta.
As the pandemic infected the internet.
Mila Simbulan in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
Executive Order number 46 signed by Delaware Governor John Carney to authorize Delaware National Squadron to support the 2020 election, and Pennsylvania's preparation for a safe and secure election.
Philip Toledo in Atlanta, Georgia.
Trump targets political opponents in Georgia rally.
Lori Jarvina in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Assistant U.S. Attorney to oversee election fraud, voting rights concerns for Nevada District.
Monique Velasco in Baton Rouge reports about President Trump approving a federal aid for people affected by Hurricane Delta in Louisiana. Next, we have Jessica Soto in Santa Clarita, California.
Los Angeles allows private outdoor gatherings for up to 3 households.
Plus, for tonight's entertainment news, Melissa Allen reports about Disney and Lucasfilm announcing the new Mandalorian trailer and product releases ahead of Season 2 premiere. And if time permits, we'll have a conversation answering the question, if you opened a business, what would it be and why? Our coverage begins now. First, an overview of how COVID-19 looks now. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University and Medicine, as of 6 p.m. Eastern Time Sunday, October 18, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 39,800,000. Top 3 on the list of countries with recorded cases: U.S. at number 1 with 8.1 million, next is India, 7.4 million, and Brazil at 5.2 million. Sadly, this virus has now already claimed more than 1,111,000 lives worldwide. Again, top 3 countries with the most number of COVID-19 related deaths are U.S., more than 219,000. Next is Brazil with more than 153,000, and India, more than 114,000. Thousands took to the streets across the United States for women's marches on Saturday, many wearing pink protest hats, while issuing fervent calls against President Donald Trump and his conservative Supreme Court pick. The rallies ahead of the November 3 election were inspired by the first Women's March in Washington, a huge anti-Trump rally held a day after his 2017 inauguration. According to organizers, amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, the demonstrations Saturday were considerably smaller, though protesters still turned out in cities across the country. Organizers said more than 100,000 people took part in some 430 marches in locations from New York to Los Angeles and Chicago to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. They urged people worried about in-person participation to join in a socially distant text banking telethon aimed at sending 5 million messages encouraging people to vote. Marchers also paid tribute to late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, an icon for women and progressives, while protesting Trump's choice of conservative Judge Amy Coney Barrett to replace her. Trump and his fellow Republicans are seeking to fast-track her nomination before the election, a process that began this week and which has drawn sharp controversy. The protest route in Washington started near the White House before heading to the U.S. Capitol and the Supreme Court building, where a smaller I'm With Her counter-protest in Barrett's favor was held. Meanwhile, an armed group with reported ties to the Boogaloo ideology holds a rally at the Michigan State Capitol. Boogaloo, which has been associated with the recent plot to kidnap the Michigan governor, is an organization-less, leaderless, loosely shaped ideology formed around gun culture and the belief of a looming conflict.
Violence. I don't want anybody to be afraid of the result of the election. I don't want anybody to have to be afraid of the result of our election. I understand a lot of people are, and that really makes me sad that so many people are afraid of the outcome of this election. On both sides of the, both 2 major parties. That's not what I want for this country. Hard to say. There has been a lot of talking by the president and by some of his more ardent supporters about what they will and won't do. I don't know if those people are going to follow through. I certainly hope not.
The arrest of 13 men in the plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan and instigate a civil war placed a fresh spotlight on the growth of armed right-wing extremist militias under the administration of President Donald Trump.
True, they were in the wrong. They should have not done what they did, or even attempted to do what they were talking about doing if that was true. That's not how we are. We are strictly, we have a motto of 1,000 steps towards peace before 1 step towards violence. And we stay true to that. We are peaceful people, and we do not condone that kind of action.
That's, there's a bunch of groups, a bunch of Facebook pages, and not any one group speaks for us as a whole. For us here today, we aren't for abolishing the police at all, or even really defunding them, but try and reroute their assets so that they're there to help people, not so much to enforce law and get money for the government.
The FBI says such groups constitute the greatest domestic terror threat in the country. In other news, protesters marched through the streets of Chicago to protest the Supreme Court nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett and to build momentum to vote President Trump out of the White House. Marches are taking place nationwide just days before the Senate holds its first vote to confirm Barrett to replace the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a liberal leader and feminist icon.
Was the Supreme Court nomination. So opposing that and making it clear that we won't stand for this type of undemocratic process.
And now on to our updates. How has the coronavirus pandemic affected freedom on the internet? In Edmonton, Bureau Chief Thomas Likeness joins us this evening. Thomas?
Thank you, Anna. Well, what effect has the pandemic had on internet freedom? COVID-19 may have turned out to be a computer virus of a different nature. Let me explain. Governments in many countries have used the pandemic as a justification to shape online narratives, censor critical speech, and build new technological systems of social control. Where does all this come from? It's in a 36-page report called Freedom on the Net, The Pandemic's Digital Shadow. A report done by a group called Freedom House. The group claims the pandemic is fueling digital repression worldwide. Get this, only 20% of the world's 3.8 billion internet users are free by this group's standards. Some statistics, 73% live in countries where people are jailed for posting content on political, social, or religious issues. 64% live in countries where people are killed for their online postings. 61% are in countries where authorities manipulate online discussions. 56% live in places where political, social, and religious content is blocked online. 47% in places where the internet is disconnected for political reasons. And 34% live in countries where access to social media platforms is either temporarily or permanently restricted. Now, here in Canada, we're privileged. We rank third behind Iceland and Estonia on internet freedom in this 65-country survey. The United States, incidentally, is 10th. The Philippines, ranked as partly free. Freedom House says the low rating is partly because of the result of a large number of libel cases launched as a result of internet postings. How free do you think you are in the internet? While you ponder that, I wish you all good health. Remember to take care of others, take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic and other current affairs. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna. I can't even talk tonight.
Thank you, Thomas. I'm quite surprised to hear the ranking of the U.S. How are the countries rated?
The rating is on 9 key factors, and it includes things on whether information and communication technology networks are deliberately disrupted, whether laws or directives have been passed that would increase censorship, punishment for surveillance, restricting anonymity. These are some of the kind of things that were taken into consideration. Also, whether users have been arrested, imprisoned, physically attacked, or killed. So a lot of factors go into these ratings. Like I say, up here we're pretty free.
Why do you think the U.S. score much lower than Canada?
Well, the U.S. had a score of 76 out of 100. Canada's was 87. The heaviest deductions come from the report's measures on violations of users' rights, whether it be by the government or by companies themselves.
I see. Very interesting. Well, I mean, a little less social media probably is not a bad thing all the time, right, Thomas?
Probably not. But what's frightening, though, is it's not only the social media aspect. It's when they start restricting your access to sites that could give you information on something, on any issue. But the government may feel this is not in line with our particular political doctrine, so let's block that. And that's happened, for example, in China, where access to certain sites is just plain blocked. And it goes beyond social media. It could go to scientific sites, other political sites, that sort of thing.
Yes, it is unfortunate for them, to not be able to have access to information that they could really help them. So I guess we can still say we're fortunate in the U.S. and Canada.
Yeah, you're in the top 10. You're in the top 10, so it's certainly ranked as free.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us, Thomas. Always a pleasure to have you on. Take care.
And you take care, Anna.
When we come back, updates from our Eagle News correspondents in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Atlanta, Georgia, and Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Hello there. Imagine Demi got the virus, and she infected 2 more. And those 2 infected a lot more of people. And it goes on and on until it became an epidemic. But what if Demi stayed at home? Then those 2 wouldn't have contracted the virus. Then those people would have not been infected. This is not just your battle, it's everyone's, and you can be a huge help. Follow social distancing, or better yet, stay at home.
Para sa akin, ang magaling na singer ay walang inaatrasan kahit ano paman. Mapa one-on-one pa yan sa kantahan. Ako po si Marco Sison, nagbabalik bilang isa sa panel of judges this season. Magkita-kita po tayo sa pinakabago at pinakamalaking talent competition on Philippine TV. Tagi sa Nanggaling Part 2, dito lang sa Net 25.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Anna Cui in Las Vegas. Eagle News correspondent Myla Simbulan has 2 stories for us this evening. First, the Delaware National Squadron to help the November 2020 elections, and the state of Pennsylvania prepares for a safe and secure election. Myla?
Thanks, Anna. Governor John Carney has signed Executive Order number 46, authorizing the Delaware National Guard's 166 Cyberspace Operations Squadron to assist in 2020 election security efforts. The squadron's unique cybersecurity capabilities will assist in protecting Delaware's elections infrastructure. According to Carney, and I quote, "Voting is our most fundamental right as Delawareans and Americans, and we will not take for granted the right to cast a vote and to have that vote counted. Throughout our country's history, Americans have sacrificed to secure voting rights for our fellow citizens. We have an obligation to take additional steps to protect that right from any cyber threats." This executive order is a proactive measure to do just that. The squadron is authorized to work with the Delaware Department of Elections and the Delaware Department of Technology and Information, or DTI, in order to avoid the threat of cybersecurity attacks on Delaware's 2020 elections, which includes providing advice to DTI to prevent, protect, and defend against cyber incidents, monitoring and analyzing risk or threats, offering technical and architectural review support for best practices, responding to any incidents, training and support after the election. Meanwhile, in Pennsylvania, the state's election security work group has been putting security measures in place for years to ensure that this election is safe. Here's Pennsylvania Homeland Security Director Marcus Brown to tell us more about it. Take a look.
A big picture look. This isn't the first election that we have been working to put these things in place. If you look back at 2016, the same concerns that are being raised in this election, many of them were being raised in that election also. There were discussions of voter fraud, rigged elections. There was tension between both sides. There were threats of violence. There were people who said during that election that they've never seen an election environment, election atmosphere the way it was in 2016. If you look back at 2012 and 2008, when Barack Obama was our first African-American president elected, there were more threats against him as a president than any other president. So law enforcement and public safety has been dealing with this issue for a long time. And now, if you look at what we're seeing now, I think Pennsylvania, my office, working with the Department of State, have implemented very significant steps to ensure that the public should feel very confident that their election is going to be safe and that their vote's going to be secure.
Brown's office is a member of the State Interagency Support Group. The work group is made up of the Department of State, Homeland Security, which is Brown's office, State Police, the National Guard, Office of Administration, and Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency. The goal of this group is to coordinate with each other on the state level to ensure that they are all aware of what the threats are and how each will respond to those threats. The group also coordinates with local enforcement and coordinators on each county. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Myla Simbulan, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Myla. It certainly is, not a bad thing to be preparing to be more safe this coming election. How about you? What are your plans this coming November 3? How do you feel?
And me and my husband were planning to vote. We usually vote early so that there won't be too much line on the polling centers. But yes, we are planning to vote, not through mail though. We're planning to go to the polling places. Anna?
That's very brave. To go to the polling station, what are your expectations?
Well, I'm expecting it to have, especially here in Pennsylvania, we're really strict about social distancing, and people are wearing masks. So yeah, we'll just follow those guidelines, and like I said, hoping that being early at the polling station there will be less people, and you don't have to deal with crowds. The last time we voted, I think there wasn't really any crowd in the polling place. So we're hoping that the same thing will happen also this coming November 3rd. Anna?
Thank you, Myla. Well, we'll look forward to an update from you then. after the elections. Stay safe.
You too. Thank you.
President Donald Trump, on his second visit to Georgia this month, took a swing at his political opponents at a rally in Macon Friday. In Atlanta, Bureau Chief Philip Toledo reports. Philip?
Thanks, Anna. Georgia definitely feels like a swing state in this year's presidential election. With many of the national polls showing him behind, President Trump visited the state for the second time within a month this last Friday for a rally in Macon, which is in the central region of the state. The president pumped up a crowd of supporters. Some were maskless, but many were wearing red or black Make America Great Again masks. Now, the rally took place the night after a town hall moderated by NBC anchor Savannah Guthrie, who challenged the president with direct questions and calling out his retweeting of conspiracy theories. Let's hear what he had to say about it.
Last night she was out of line. I mean, in my opinion, she was out of line. It's like, as I said, just relax, take it nice and easy.
From there, he riled up the crowd, alleging his opponent, Joe Biden, of being corrupt. Let's take a look.
And we've learned over the last couple of months, Joe Biden is a corrupt politician. He's a corrupt politician. And the Biden family is a criminal enterprise. Frankly, it makes crooked Hillary Clinton look like an amateur. I'll tell you something, though. It is fair. Lock them up. You shouldn't lock them up. Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary. Lock them up.
The president didn't stop there. He called out Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, saying she knows nothing about the environment in relation to her proposed Green New Deal. He then turned his attention to Representative Ilhan Omar, who often criticizes him. Take a look.
Ilhan Omar. You know, I'm going to win Minnesota because of Ilhan Omar. She hates our country. I mean, you see the way she talks. She hates our country. No, please don't tell her to leave. That happened once before. I got in a lot of trouble. They start screaming she should leave, and they got me in trouble. They said, why didn't he protest?
Trump took aim at Democrats in general, telling the crowd they would turn America into a communist country. Now, the president won Georgia in the last election, but this year the race for Georgia is close. Some outlets are polling Biden ahead by just a few points. And it seems everywhere you look here, there's some kind of political advertisement or some reminder of the impending election day. So with Trump looking to cement possession of Georgia on November 3rd, we'll see if there's any more visits in store for the state. In Atlanta, Georgia, Philip Toledo, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Philip. Now, are there any other signs of Georgia being a swing state?
Yeah, you know, it's very interesting that you asked that question because I never, you know, in my life, I mean, I've grown up in the South. I never thought that Georgia would would be so hotly contested. But like I mentioned, it seems like everywhere you look, there's political signs everywhere. My parents visited a few weeks ago, and I never watched live TV, but my parents do, and it was like every commercial was some sort of political ad, and it wasn't even different ads. It was all the same ads over and over and over again. And then on my phone, I get no less than 5 text messages a day from some random number saying support the Democrats or support the Republicans. So I for one, at least as far as all of the spam goes, if that makes sense, I can't wait for November 3rd to be here and over with.
I share your sentiments, Philip. I can't wait for after November 3, but we'll see how it goes. You mentioned TV ads. Thankfully, I don't watch regular TV anymore. I just stick with Netflix most of the time. And you mentioned the phone texting as well. I mean, I've been getting those, and I don't recall getting those in the 2016 election. Lots have changed. Lots have changed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from the broader access to social media, and I guess the increase in technology when it comes to being able to text random numbers, because I know that I didn't give my. Sometimes they call me the wrong name, Anna. They don't even call me Philip. I get all these other random names as well. So it's definitely a very interesting time that we're living in here in 2020.
Exactly. Thank you, Philip. Thank you for your report. A pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, thank you,
Take
Anna.
care. Assistant United States Attorney Jamie Mickelson will be overseeing election fraud and voting rights concerns for Nevada District. In Las Vegas, Lori Jarvino is with us tonight. Lori?
Thank you, Anna. And hello from Las Vegas, Nevada. There are 15 days until Election Day, and the stakes are high. For some, they may wonder if the election process and results are safe and secure against a possibility of tampering. Rest assured that the government is taking measures to help put our minds at ease. According to the District of Nevada U.S. Attorney's Office, Assistant U.S. Attorney Jamie Mickelson has been appointed to serve as the District Election Officer for the District of Nevada, and in that capacity is responsible for overseeing the district's handling of complaints of election fraud and voting rights concerns. Attorney Mickelson will work in coordination with the Justice Department headquarters in Washington. U.S. Attorney Trutanik said, and I quote, "Every citizen must be able to vote without interference or discrimination, and to have that vote counted without it being stolen because of fraud. The Department of Justice will always act appropriately to protect the integrity of the election process." These efforts are all part of the Department of Justice's nationwide Election Day program, which seeks to ensure public confidence in the integrity of the election process by providing local points of contact within the department for the public to report possible election fraud and voting rights violations while the polls are open through Election Day. Voting is an important right of every American citizen, and laws exist to protect this right. Some of these federal laws include protections against such crimes as intimidating or bribing voters, buying and selling votes, impersonating voters, altering vote tallies, stuffing ballot boxes, and marking ballots for voters against their wishes or without their input. Additional laws also ensure voters are protected against harassment while exercising the right to vote. Some examples of this include attempts to interrupt voters at polling places by questioning or challenging them, or by taking pictures of them or videotaping them. These types of actions can be charged as federal crimes. In addition, the FBI will have special agents available in each field office and resident agency throughout the country to receive allegations of election fraud and other election abuses on Election Day, which is Tuesday, November 3rd. The local FBI field office can be reached by the public at 702-385-1281. In Las Vegas, Lori Jarvina, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Lori. Now, I'm curious, have you done mail-in voting in the past?
We have not, but my husband and I are definitely going to use that this time around. Yes.
So how do you feel about what's your confidence level in the accuracy of the voting process?
Well, after reading about, people's concerns with the voting process and, especially mail-in voting and tampering, I feel confident because mail-in voting has been around a while. It's not the first time we've done this. So I'm confident that the officials can actually go ahead and tally the results. And I'm not worried that our results won't be secured. So we are definitely going to do mail-in voting this time.
Okay, Lori. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you for your report. Pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
When we come back, updates from our Eagle News correspondents in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Santa Clarita, California, and Lakeland, Florida. This is Eagle News. Stay with us.
Babay! 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 Gustong-gusto ko yung fake news. Bakit di nila makukuha yung tamang sagot?
Bawal ang fake news. Bawal mali-mali.
Tonto ako sa fake news, hindi nila makuha yung tamang sagot.
Team Papa Win! Hip Hop Queen!
Ang gusto ko yung PN's the key.
Kasi nakaka-relate din ako dyan. Yung misis ko madalas umorder eh.
Ang red ba? Ang confirmed or cancel?
Gusto rin namin magbigay ng pag-asa sa ating kapwa, lalo na sa panahon ngayon.
Ang gusto ko dyan, ayudawan, nakatulong na, nakakatawa pa.
Driver Grab, nag-deliver, driver Grab.
Ang gusto ko po dyan yung ayudawan kasi marami pong natutulungan ng tao.
Salamat po. Opo, maraming salamat po. Unang-una po sa Ama.
Opo, maraming salamat po. Ikwento ko po ito sa aking mga anak.
Gusto ko sa happy time, maalis tayo. Tuwang-tawa kay KitKat.
Iyan o. Iyan o.
It says the best defense is still containment.
We are in uncharted territory.
Final volume 450. FI mo to 100%. Natin pa. Construction eh.
This is Eagle News America. I'm Anna Cui in Las Vegas. President Donald Trump approves federal aid funding for people in the state of Louisiana affected by Hurricane Delta. In Baton Rouge, Eagle News correspondent Monique Velasco has the story.
Thank you, Anna, and hello from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. On Saturday, Governor John Bel Edwards' request for federal assistance opening up aid to people who suffered damage in 5 parishes from Hurricane Delta was approved by President Donald Trump. He thanked the president for his quick action, stating the very same communities in southwest Louisiana were already reeling from Hurricane Laura, and that this federal assistance will go a long way in rebuilding our damaged parishes and helping get people recovered and back to their lives. FEMA is allowed to deliver public assistance Category A, debris removal, and Category B, emergency protective measures, and individual assistance for the parishes of Acadia, Calcasieu, Cameron, Jefferson Davis, and Vermilion. Residents impacted by Hurricane Delta in these 5 parishes may begin registering for FEMA assistance by registering online at www.disasterassistance.gov or by calling 1-800-621-FEMA. Federal FEMA aid can include grants for temporary housing, repairs to homes, low-cost loans for uninsured property loss, and other assistance programs to help residents and businesses recover from Hurricane Delta. Here in Louisiana, early voting began on Friday and will continue through October 27 with the exceptions of Sundays. Governor Edwards urges residents to take advantage of this opportunity to make their voices heard and avoid long lines. Visit govote.com to find early voting locations. That's GEAUX Meanwhile, the Louisiana Department of Health reminds Louisianans to roll up their sleeves and get their flu shots. Available at your local pharmacy, doctor's office, or at flu vaccination clinics across the state. You can find out more at ldh.la.gov/fighttheflu. In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I'm Monique Velasco, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Monique, for that report. Private gatherings are now allowed in Los Angeles, provided that they are held outdoors and only up to 3 households. In Santa Clarita, Jessica Soto reports. Jessica?
Thank you, Anna. Los Angeles updates the public health officer order to reflect California's direction on private gatherings with a maximum of 3 households. The County of Los Angeles public health officer issues an updated set of allowances and restrictions for private gatherings. Private gatherings of 3 households or less are now allowed, but must be held outdoors and kept relatively short for about 2 hours or less. Physical distancing guidelines between the different households and frequent hand washing are still in place, as is the instruction to wear face coverings at all times, except of course when eating or drinking. Individuals identified as high risk should avoid attending any private gatherings. These people include those with underlying health conditions like heart or lung disease, diabetes, and a compromised immune system. The California Department of Public Health reminds residents who plan on having private gatherings that the smaller the gathering, the safer things will be for everyone. Hosts are expected to secure the names and contact information of all attendees in the event that contact tracing becomes necessary. And in case an indoor restroom is used by guests, increased cleaning and sanitation of bathrooms should be carried out. The setup of canopies, awnings, and other shade structures is allowed for outdoor gatherings, so long as at least 3 sides of the space or 75% of the area is open. And for events that involve food or refreshments, one-time use, disposable dishware, utensils, and cups are highly recommended. If one-time use containers is not feasible, guests should still not serve themselves from communal or shared dishes. Instead, designated food handlers should serve guests, making sure to wear a face covering and to frequently wash their hands. Finally, while many parties can involve a round or 2 of spirited singing, the risk of transmitting infectious diseases is elevated, especially with loud singing, which requires a person to inhale and exhale more vigorously. So if you must sing, the recommendation is to keep things on the quiet side. Maintain at least 6 feet distancing between people and keep your face covering on. In Santa Clarita, California, Jessica Soto, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Jessica. Now, we know that any size gathering will bring with it a greater risk for transmitting COVID-19, right? So does this new private gathering allowance give people a false sense of security? What do you think?
I believe it will, Anna, if people ignore the warnings and instructions issued by the California Department of Public Health. You know, again, the smaller the number of people, the better, because when there are more folks laughing, joking, and interacting, the chances of virus transmission is much higher. Also, to keep in mind, if contact tracing becomes necessary after a private gathering, the less people there are to track down, the quicker it will be to notify those who are concerned.
Now, what about, Jessica, what about, you mentioned 3 households, right? Well, some households are pretty big. They have what if they have more than 10 people in their household, and then 2 other households join them, and each of them also has a large family? Isn't there any guidelines, or is there a cap on the number of those people that can gather?
I'll have to say, unfortunately, the updated order does not clearly define exact numbers. So unfortunately, there might be those who will try to take advantage and throw big parties. But the order does state that certain groups do not constitute a household, such as dormitories, fraternities, sororities, boarding houses, or residential care facilities. But for the households that you mentioned, it would be wise to keep it small and, keep it at a safe number.
Because I'm sure, as you know, some cultures, they really have big families, right? And they consider, in some households, there are more than one generation living in the same household. So that would probably, hopefully people will just use common sense and remember to continue to follow the guidelines whenever they do gather outside. Well, thank you, Jessica, for that report.
Thank you, Anna.
Disney and Lucasfilm announced the new Mandalorian trailer and product releases ahead of Season 2 premiere. Eagle News correspondent Melissa Allen has the details.
Star Wars fans eagerly await the upcoming premiere of The Mandalorian second season, Disney and Lucasfilm have recently released a brand new promo trailer, as well as a new set of character posters, including one with a fan favorite affectionately referred to as Baby Yoda. Earlier this year, the first season of the wildly popular and critically acclaimed TV series was awarded 7 Emmys, including Outstanding Cinematography, Outstanding Music Composition, and Outstanding Visual Effects. According to Parent Analytics, The Mandalorian was ranked the 4th highest in-demand digital original in the US last week, and demand for the series is projected to increase as the second season's premiere draws near. In conjunction with the show's release schedule, Disney and Lucasfilm also announced Mando Mondays, which will begin on October 26 and go for 9 weeks. Each Monday, fans can visit the official Star Wars website to shop for all things Mando, including comics, books, and apparel. The second and final season of The Mandalorian is scheduled to begin on October 30th, with a total of 8 episodes airing every Friday until the series finale on December 18th. In Lakeland, Florida, Melissa Allen, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Melissa. When we come back, our Eagle News team will answer the question, if you opened a business, what would it be and why? This is Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Kumanta, sumaya tayong lahat. Saya-saya.
The search for the best continues. Tagisan ng Galing Part 2 is now accepting audition entries. Kung ikaw ay 21 to 59 years old at may angking galing sa pagsayaw, mapasolo, duo o grupo man, magpadala na ng audition entry. Narito ang mga guidelines. Para makapagpasa ng entry sa dancing category, contact Shing at 0995-880-8004. Ito na ang pagkakataon mo para maging tagisan ng galing grand winner at manalo ng 2 million pesos. Para sa karagdagang impormasyon, i-like ang Tagisan ng Galing Facebook page. Kaya sali na!
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Open for Business, from vision to action.
Welcome back. This is Eagle News America. I'm Anna Cui in Las Vegas. When the coronavirus pandemic happened, small businesses were severely affected. Weeks into it, support for local business came pouring in. Loyal customers campaigned that communities go out of their way to buy products and avail of services offered by these mom-and-pop shops and restaurants. Well, tonight, let's ask our Eagle News team if they are to open a business, small or big, what would it be and why? How about we start with, let's go to Atlanta, Georgia with Philip.
Thanks, Anna. So, I've got 2 answers for you. I guess my question back to you first is, do you want the pie in the sky one first, or would you want the more realistic one first?
Let's go with the pie in the sky.
All right. So I think if I could, do my pie in the sky business idea, it would be some sort of cultural immersion or cultural experience company, because I really like food, and I thought maybe I'd open a restaurant, but I also like experiencing different cultures and having the chance to help people to experience something different than they normally do or might normally get, and to try to really tailor it to whatever their particular tastes are. I think that sounds really exciting to me. I like to host people. I don't like to clean up afterwards, but I guess we could charge people for that. And then the second one, the more realistic one, because I've been trying to think of things that I could do to help people, but then also to try to help my family make a little something extra during these times, is I'm thinking about trying to somehow start a resume writing or a career coaching type business, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something that I've been doing just off and on, for pretty much my entire professional career. When I'm not, here at Eagle News America, I do HR stuff on the side. And I think that, it'd just be an easy way. And I love to help people. I like to coach them for interviews. I like to help them, put forward the best side of themselves. So, if you know anybody that's interested, I'm just kidding. But, hopefully, we'll be able to get something going soon.
That sounds good, Philip. Now, how about, let's go to Las Vegas with Lori. Lori, what about you?
Hi, Anna. As far as owning a business, I have lots of ideas, but I like to pawn those ideas off on friends and have them own a business, and I support them. But one idea I had was there's a popular cookie company here in Las Vegas, and I actually did some research on it because they are nationwide, but they're not in Hawaii yet. So I have a friend in Hawaii who I was telling her about it, that with the cute packaging, it's really pretty pink and very beautiful. And then the cookies themselves, they change flavors every week. So I think that's a great kind of hook for the customer, because if you're a fan of these cookies and you tried maybe 6 flavors in 1 week, you can't wait to try the new flavors that come out every other week. Personally speaking, I think I've tried maybe 24 of the flavors so far, and I love them all, and the family approves too. So my husband and I were even talking about it a little bit. Like, if we were to open up a business, it could definitely be a family business, because you could get the kids involved. You could have your friends give you ideas of flavors. And I was just thinking really for like the Hawaii aspect of it is that you could localize it. You could make the, the boxing and, all of the things that tourists love. And, I'm a tourist at heart everywhere I go. I would love to buy it just because the packaging is so cute. And, and if you were to put Hawaiian flavors or, that might even work here in Las Vegas. So I don't know. It's a thought. But basically a business that will bring smiles to people's faces, especially in this time of just a lot of tension and stress. And who doesn't love a cookie? And in fact, I was debating between cupcakes and cookies, but the cookies also keep well. And they are more substantial, in my opinion, than cupcakes, because these particular cookies are like the size of my face, and they can be shared. So that would probably be a business I would still try to push on someone else to do, but something if I did have the time and, really wanted to get out there and do something, I think maybe a cookie shop, or definitely something with sweets, because I have a sweet tooth.
Have an idea which cookie place is that you're referring to, Lori? And they are huge, right? Well, maybe you can, you mentioned Hawaii. I mean, we are considered the 9th island, right, of Hawaii. So it probably will work here, that idea you have. Or you can connect with Alfred, our bureau chief in Hawaii, and work something out with him.
I think the flavors and the possibilities are endless. Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lori. Now let's go to Edmonton, Alberta. Thomas, what about you?
Oh, first of all, if Lori franchised up here in the frozen north, I would be her first customer. I love cookies. Pie in the sky business, I'd love to own a radio station. Problem is trying to get a license up here. That takes a lot of years. The market is fairly saturated, and radio isn't going through the good times it was back when I got into the business. More realistically, if I was going to open a business, and I've thought about it, probably financial services targeting small businesses and millennials, because at least according to the demographics in my city, most millennials work in the gig economy. They don't have things like benefits. They don't have things like insurance. Most insurance companies do not want to be bothered with small businesses that have maybe 3 or 4 employees. So there's a huge market out there if anybody went sort of after that niche market. That's kind of the radio. Radio is an interesting business. Insurance is kind of puts you to sleep, doesn't it?
There's plenty for everyone, I always say, Thomas. And you mentioned millennials. It's true. A lot of millennials are working for themselves, and they're looking into investing. I know.
Yes, yeah. That's the other side of financial services, of course, is the investing, and they are looking for that. They don't want to end up in the position like my mother did. She outlived her savings. This is true by about 10 years. And fortunately, we were able to help her. But more and more, and the pandemic has actually brought this about, because suddenly you got a whole bunch of people that had very little in reserve savings, and they're really scrambling now, and they're seeing the value of, maybe I should put something aside for when I'm 65 or 70 years old. Quite a difference in attitude compared to. I'm a boomer. I grew up with the boomers, and you make it, you spend it.
Yes, I think that the younger generation, like you mentioned, they're seeing how their parents are, so they're learning. They're learning to do better when it comes to their finances.
Yep, very responsible.
Well, good luck, Thomas. It's never too late to start your own radio station. We'll definitely support that. Thank you. Now, let's go to Swarthmore, Pennsylvania with Myla.
Hey, Anna, this is really an interesting topic because just like Gloria's idea, we're actually in the middle of doing something like that as a business, and it's not really 100% business yet. We're just having fun right now. But early summer, I was inspired by because of this pandemic. I was inspired by so many people in social media selling, and there's from plants to sweet desserts to savory stuff, and I was so inspired that one day I was just looking at my daughter. My daughter, she's 15, and she loves to bake. And I was just looking at her because of this pandemic. I think the kids have been, sleeping. She wakes up every day at 1:00 in the afternoon, and so I told myself, you need to do something, something worthwhile, something that something that you love at the same time. So since I love baking, and she really loves baking. She makes the best carrot cake. Of course, she's my daughter. I'm gonna say she makes the best. And I told her, why don't she, sell whatever she loves to bake. She loves cookies too, like Lori. She loves to make cookies and brownies and all those stuff. So I opened for her in Facebook, and so all those recipes that I have that I've been trying to improve for so many months, which because of this pandemic too, I was able to improve it. We've been selling them, and the good thing is because of our location here, all those cakes that I've been looking for, especially those Filipino cakes that I only taste whenever I go, let's say to my family in California, or I know in Las Vegas you have a lot of those type of stores as well. So those are the types of cake that we're trying to sell here in the East Coast, because for us to get those Filipino cakes, especially those chiffon cakes, the fluffy ones, you have to travel like an hour, 2 hours just to get them, because I live far from Jersey, which is we have a lot of those types of bake shops. So now we are selling cakes for friends and family But like I said, like right now, we're just doing it for fun. We just want our friends and families to taste whatever we're making. And my daughter is the one actually really making it. I'm just helping her putting together the menu, and then she will just start baking it herself. So yeah, it's kind of fun though, but our weekends are now really tiring because of that. But it's fun. It's fun for both of us. Yeah.
A lot of good things coming out of that, Myla. You know, the bonding time with your daughter, teaching her
exactly,
responsibility, learning about finance early, lots of good things. So keep it up. Maybe we'll get to taste some of that one day. Now, so far, 3 out of 4 talked about food. Let's go to California with Jessica. Jessica, let's hear what kind of business you would want to start.
I'm actually kind of similar to Phillips. I have two ideas. The pie in the sky is I was thinking of a home fitness kind of oriented store, only because, especially in these times, you can see so many. It's hard to find fitness clothes nowadays, and it's so hard to find fitness equipment nowadays because everyone's at home doing what they can to stay busy and, you know, doing their best to stay healthy and active, and that would help promote better healthy lifestyle, and I think that's a great idea. But of course, that's a pie in the sky because I have no idea how to make clothes or how to make equipment. But the more realistic answer that I have is my mom and I have actually been going back and forth answering about a bookkeeping service or even a small CPA firm, because that's what we're both accountants, and we think that would be a good idea to help small businesses out with their books. No matter where you go, small businesses will always need bookkeepers or accountants to help organize their financial records and all of the likes like that.
Interesting. So also finance, like Thomas there in Edmonton. Mm-hmm. So thank you for that, Jessica. Now, well, if you were to ask me, as we're finishing up here, I would open a bookstore with a little cafe, but not because I would want, not for myself, but because that's my daughter's dream. So hopefully one day we get to do that. Well, thank you, Eagle News team, for sharing us your thoughts on your dream business. Food is always good. There's plenty to go around, so pursue your dreams. We continue to thank our healthcare workers, first responders, and essential workers with a round of applause. Let's join together. Thank you. We continue to appreciate each and every one of you. That is today's Eagle News America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Kui. We live in interesting times.
May sakit na lumalaganap, lunas di pa nahahanap. May paraan para wag kumalat, kaalaman ay ipamalas. Pag-aralan o dalinga, simulan ang disiplina. Mapahamak ay hindi na, lahat ito ay makakaya. May tamang paraan ang paghuhugas ng kamay. Distansya, pila-pila, takpan ng bibig. Stay sa bahay.